Fuzzy Cracklins presents and The Swamp Records. You got to check this out, man. Go to www.theswamprecords.com/doomtomb. Now, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? We're talking about getting in the Swamp Krewe. Here's what it is. For $5 a month, you are going to get access on Bandcamp to over 130 different digital albums, plus bonus items from the back catalog, supporter-only specials, and access to supporter-exclusive messages. You won't want to miss it. Now, the best part, if you bump it up just $2 more, you're going to get a CD each and every month, and who knows what else. Did you get the last one? Did you see what was in it? Yeah, it was pretty awesome, man, and you are going to want to get into it if you haven't already. So get in the Swamp Krewe right now. Go to www.theswamprecords.com/doomtomb. How are you doing today? I'm glad you're joining us, man. This is the doomtombpodcast, the podcast for all things stoner, doom, and sludge. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and today we're going across the pond. We're going over to Italy, Bologna to be specific, and we're going to talk to Emilio from the band Tenebra. Now, they've got new material that they're working on, and I reached out to them. We had a little back and forth on social media, and Emilio was like, should we wait? Absolutely not. We have to talk about the first release. I want more people to know about what this was and to prepare for the upcoming release now. Something that Emilio did that was incredible. He sent me over the demo tracks for the next release. This stuff is going to blow your mind, and we've got it coming up later in the podcast. But right now, let's get into the interview. Tenebra are a 4-piece band formed in Bologna, Italy, and I have one of the people from that band. Emilio, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
So, we got a lot to discuss, but the reason I wanted to reach out to the band, and am I pronouncing it right? Is it Tenebra?
It's more like Tenebra.
Tenebra.
Yeah.
I apologize. I know we're gonna have.
It's okay.
We're gonna have a thing with Italian pronunciation. I'm not all that great at it.
My English pronunciation is bad too, so it's okay.
So it's a win-win. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So I heard the first release, loved it to death, and I was like, I want to reach out to this band, and I apologize. I didn't reach out sooner, and I went over the material. I wanted to talk to you about it, and then I heard about something else that you have coming up, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I'd like to get into the LP, the first one. Is it Gennaro?
Gennaro, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make.
Yeah, it's like a fun stuff because here in Italy there was like a Catholic band called Gen Rosso. It's like Gen Red. Gennaro, it's Gen Black. And this Catholic band who made a lot of church song in the 70s was called Gen Rosso. So Gennaro was like a fun name to mock them.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that is awesome, man. All right, so before we get into the music, now we've got this interesting artwork. What can you tell me about the artwork and who created it?
Yeah, the artwork was made by our drummer, Mesca, Claudio, because we have two Claudio in the band. One is our drummer, but we call him Mesca. And it's like a collage of like ancient runes, voodoo symbols, like very dark. Maybe it's not too, like, the music, it's not so dark, I think, but I think the artwork is quite good.
Oh, yes, it is. Now, for the lyrical content and the concept, because I would kind of consider this a concept album, because it's like, it's best when you listen to it all the way through in one session.
Yeah. It was recorded in that with that in mind. It was completely recorded live on tape,
Right.
like on 2-inch tape.
Nice.
With band, all the band in the same room with the amp too. So there was like, what you hear is what you get.
Right.
And it was created in a manner that a song follow another, and at the end it's a full circle because the beginning of the record and the end of the record are like a loop.
Yes, it is.
And was made in that way with that in mind.
That's awesome, dude. I love it. And it is, for me personally, I can listen to one track at a time, but when I hear the whole thing, all right, let's start it out. And
Thank you.
And again, if I butcher it, I'm sorry. In Tenebra, Tenebra.
It's okay. It's good.
I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna do it all day. What can you tell me about the first track?
The first track is an instrumental. It's like, in my opinion, it's like there's something of sleep in it, I think.
Right.
But the guitar work at the beginning, it's like more jazzy, in my opinion. Because we are in the band, all the band members are big jazz fan.
Right.
And then I think the song opened in a more noise way in the chorus. Also, it's an instrumental. There's like a chorus, and I really like the odd time signature riff. It's fun.
It really came out killer, and I mean, I just like. And I've said this many times, where I like when I think the song's going to go in a direction, it takes me in another direction. All out rockin' track right there. It's a fantastic thing, fantastic song to kick off this release. Now we go into this next track, Cornered. I tell you, man, it's Sylvia, correct?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, man, that vocal, it's that raspiness. There's a hint of Janis Joplin or somebody of that era, but I mean, it's not just the raspiness that she's got; it's the musicianship behind it. Really carries it to the next level. The drums are full. Bass breakdown, it goes to like this almost like kind of like Zeppelin like solo and a nice roomy space towards the end of the track. What can you tell me about Cornered?
I think it's like a more straightforward hard rock song in a way. Also, if the riff it's not like your normal pentatonic, there's like some notes here and there,
right,
more original. But I think in rock and roll, you have a basement, and the basement is like blues, and on that you build up something different. And I think the song is fun because there's not a real chorus in it. It's
right,
like more a song built on bridge and riffs, and I don't know. I think it's one of the more straightforward song we have, but I like it very much to play live.
Yeah, I mean, like the solo, like I said, kicks in around 2:30 or so. It really is like, it's just like a great psychedelic occult doom styled track. Love it to death.
Thank you. The solo, in reality, I think that the solo, it was when I improvised for the solo, because it was made in 2 takes, I think. It was here in my home. We recorded live the basic track, like drum, bass, and guitars in studio.
Right.
Then the overdubs were made like a bit here in my home studio, and then something in our rehearsal room. And when I played the solo, was like my thinking was if like Pantera were on acid.
I love it, man. I love it. That is killer. Now, before we before we go into the next track, the name itself of the band, is that a nod to a specific service, a religious service?
No. The band name, like often happen, it was choose like we were not like that's the name, but it was a Latin Italian name, and we think in the English world sounds exotic,
right,
in a way. Then we thought about like our times. I think we live in very dark times.
Yes.
And so Tenebra in Italian means darkness. So I think it fits for the band.
Yes, it does. I was curious. I didn't know, as you know, in hearing how you got the title of the album, I'm also thinking, wow, maybe there's something else, that there's a play on words. But yes, exactly, darkness, and that's it's weird. That's the exact note that I wrote. So perfect, man. Thank you for that. We are at Nostalgia. Got this bluesy start, we get a change, and then you go into the psych solo towards the end. What can you tell me about that track?
I think it's a fun track because it's like the more 60s track in our songs. I think it's more inspired by the late 60s sound. It was recorded with a very heavy fuzz pedal. Right. With a clean amp, fuzz pedal, and a Fender Jaguar. So it was like no Les Paul, no Marshall. It was like very tiny sound. All the heaviness of the song, it's the bass. But I think the fun stuff, it's on at the end of the song. It turns out like a bit more punk,
right?
A bit more straightforward punk riff with the fast solo and the half riff at the end, like very Pistols. and I don't know, this band is like it's like a fusion of all the things we like. We came from the hardcore scene here in Bologna. Me, Claudio, and Mesca, the guitar, the drum, and the bass. Silvia is very young; is more young than us, but she's the person with a very deep, I don't know what to say, very deep connaissance of like the dark 60s and 70s underground.
Sure.
Very big culture on that. We are more from the hardcore side of the thing.
Right.
So the band is like a fusion of all these. Obviously, we all like Sabbath, Zeppelin, Deep Purple. It's like the band that our parents listen to.
Right.
But we grew up with like Discord records, Slap I Am, like more DIY stuff from the US. And I think the song is very representative of that.
Absolutely, it is. And you know, we just got to go into this next track. I'm very curious. Now, I don't even think I asked it properly before, but who is doing the majority of the lyrics?
It's all Silvia.
Really? Okay.
The lyrics are all Silvia. And if I have to be, it's a strange thing because it's very jealous of the lyric. You don't want to print them. She's very good in English, so it's not about like are written in like a crippled English. No, they are good English, but it's like half a mystery for her.
Absolutely.
But it's all of Silvia stuff.
Now I'm curious because I've you know in going down, and we're on the next track, which is Scarlet Woman. This is the first time where I decided I got to stop this and go back to the beginning, because I'm wondering like where it is in like an appreciation would have you for the occult. Scarlet Woman, we talked about. I talked about it with a band Temple recently. That the Scarlet Woman from Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, that's true. She said that to me. Scarlet Woman was the name of the Aleister Crowley girlfriend, I think.
His muse, Layla.
Yeah. And I think that the song is based on that. Sylvia is very. She got a big culture on that stuff. I'm more like a street guy. I like skateboard.
But I will tell you that for me, Scarlet Woman, I think that was the heaviest track so far. Yeah. It's like definitely it's more the doomest track of the record. Yeah,
I think that's true for sure. It's like very straightforward riff with some weird accent, but we're not very good at write very linear riff. We like always to put like a strange accent or an odd time signature. But yeah, for sure, it's like the Tenebra riff. Yeah.
Right. And it totally works, man. Now, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to ask you for this. For the next track, could you please pronounce it for me?
Called Solve et Coagula. It's like Solve et Coagula. It was like esoteric stuff from, right. All the alchemists in the 15th, 16th, 17th century. Yes. He was researching like to turn the lead in gold. And one of these, in this procedure, there was a part of this procedure called Solve et Coagula. It means like, in English it's quite difficult to translate, but it's like, I don't remember the right words. To liquefy, yes. It's like solve, it's like liquefy, and coagulate, it's like solidify.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope this is the right words, but
exactly. Yes, it's silly as I look at it. Yes, coagulate, of course. That's what it's from. So yeah. It's the difference between the two forces in a way.
Yeah, it was like it's like the central part of this alchemic procedure. It was like, there's like a big debate about this. Someone says the alchemy is truth. Someone says the alchemy is like a metaphor.
Gotcha.
Turn the lead in gold, get a better person. But the central part of this procedure, it's called Solve et Coagula.
Thank you for that. Now we're going to go into, well, first off, you know what? Before we go into the last track there, I like this track, the fifth track here, because I wasn't sure where you're going, right, kind of until the end of the verse, and that I don't know if like when you were talking about a different time signature, a different way that she's singing. I don't know. I like the way it hit like. When I listen to a vocal and it's not straight, it just kind of it meanders a little, it wanders, and then it winds up finishing out at the end of the verse. I'm like, oh, okay, that's where you were going. I love that feeling, man.
Yeah. And we are very bad in making song like 4/4 straight song. There's always something strange in our riff. Strangely, this song was really inspired by an old song from Screaming Trees.
Oh, okay.
But this was my initial idea with the riff. It's like a riff written in C. It was like a common tonality in grunge.
Right.
But then when we played it together, it totally changed. There's something like more Hendrixy here and there. It's the band works like that. You go to rehearsal with a riff and you say, oh, this riff is totally like a 90s riff, but then it changed because there are other persons, so
sure,
everything changed.
Absolutely. Quality, consistency, and incredibly fast turnaround times. These are just some of the many attributes from Mucho Printing. Let's hear from the man himself. What do you got, Mucho?
Yeah, what's up, big dogs? This is Mucho Drums here to tell you a little bit about my new company, Mucho Printing. Now, I played in multiple bands for several years, and I know how important it is to leave your mark after any show. Even before hitting that first note, you want the crowd to know who you are and remember who's responsible for the sore necks the next morning. Presentation is an important factor in any band's mission to the top, and that's where we come in. Fully printed backdrops, removable bass drum covers, mesh cab covers, flags. These are just a few products that we can offer to you. We're based out of Los Angeles, California, and can ship anywhere in the United States. More importantly, our goal is to help promote bands off the stage as well. With every order, we'll post pictures of the prints, along with info about the band and any other advertisements you'd like us to include. Please check us out on Instagram and Facebook by searching Mucho Printing. Send us a message for any details. Hope all of you are staying safe, strong, and powerful out there. And remember, you win some, you lose some, but nothing beats getting some. Cheers, my friends.
Now, in the last track, what can you tell me about it, man?
The last track is like it's like the first track, but in reverse. And it's as I said before, the record is like a big loop, so you can listen it to continuously. The record starts very quiet and it ends in a very quiet manner. So the last song is an instrumental and starts with a heavy riff. And then it begins like a psychedelic jam.
Yes.
It was all made live. It was really made live, and until the end we were like it was not so easy to say like, okay, we will put that in the record, because we were not like 100% into that. But when we listened to the final jam with all the delays, the like mad delays, it was quite good. So we made this thing like it was it was like the end of the record, but it was also the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it works, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely it works. And thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, that just I felt that bluesy psych, and then it goes into like a full psych mode. And I don't know, man. You know what? I look at it and I'm like, 24 minutes, man. I could double that. I would love to hear more of it. And we'll get to that in a minute. But so I'm curious, when you're talking about recording in the studio and you're all recording together, you're recording live. What does that give you a different vibe? Because so you can feed off each other as you're playing.
We recorded at this studio called Vacuum Studio. Mm-hmm. It's an old country house here near Bologna. And Bruno, this guy who runs the studio, has this room when you can put all the instrument here, and there's not too much bleeding in, like for example, in the overhead of the drums.
Right.
The room is not so big, but there's like this column in the middle. So if you put the amp beside this column, the bleeding is not terrible. So we decided to make the record this way because it was like to play a live concert or a rehearsal. It's more spontaneous.
That's awesome.
You don't have to wear like headphones. If you're a chord, you strike a chord and you let the guitar ring, it's like a real Larsen effect.
Yes.
It's all true, and so there's some small error here and there, but I think a record have to be made in this way, because right now there are too much like easy drummer or like quantize the drum or stuff like that, and I think a record have to be made live with a live sound with some error, because the great record in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s were made like that.
Absolutely.
And were made like modern rock with all the drums or fake drums, all the hyper low tuning with the bass with no bass, because you listen to all this modern stuff, there's no bass, and I love the bass in rock and roll. It's important.
Very much so.
And so we made the record in an old-fashioned way.
And like I said, came out great. Now, for the material that you have coming up, are you going to record it the same way in the same space?
Yes and no, because we have already booked mansion. It's not mansion. It's like a country house here in the hill.
Okay.
So the next record we will record together in the same room.
Right.
But I'll engineer the stuff, and we will start the recordings at the 17th of October for like 2 or 3 weekends. And for the recordings, we will make all by ourselves, and then Bruno will mix the record. But we want to take some time this time, because there will be 9 songs this time. The record will be longer. It was like 40 minutes.
Right.
And all the stuff is already ready to be recorded, but we will be just just the band, so will not be no pressure, and we want to take time also to have jamming time and have more space, because this time will be the true LP with a long playing, because 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And we want to have this more like this relaxed vibe on the recordings.
That makes total sense.
The basic tracks of the old record were made like in 2 days.
Yeah, sometimes that's that's the ongoing story. You know, some people, even when they release a single or something, it's the one that they didn't think was going to hit, and it does, and you just never know.
No, it's all just. I want to take these recordings like I want to have a relaxed time. No hurry. I want to have time to experiment something if I want.
Sure.
And so we will leave at Friday night, and we will be there until Sunday night. We have 6 days in this way.
Right.
I think it will be really good, because the demo are already good in my opinion, and I think that this record will be good, really good.
That is awesome, and you know what? I gotta say, I'm gonna let it out right now. I heard some of it already.
Yeah.
Wow! Thank you
you
so much, man. I was hitting it. You know, I get this thing sometimes late at night. I sit out on the porch and I just pick some songs, and then I got a message from you, or I messaged you, one or the other, and you sent me some of this stuff. And dude, this is like beyond the demo, man. This is like, you could put that out like right now.
Yeah, it was a strange thing, because we recorded the basic track like in 10 hours in our rehearsal room with 4 mics on the drum and a basic scratch guitar track. Then we overdubbed the bass, and then we made the vocals, and then the lockdown started.
I got you.
It takes some time. So we mixed the demo on the lockdown, basically.
Hey, good. You know,
and
there's time.
We sent it to some record label, and we have a good deal for the label on the next record, because we'll be a quite big co-production for the next record. We'll be seeing Red Records from US, DHU from Netherlands.
Oh, nice.
And then we will have Robbie's Fellow from Ukraine, so it's like a worldwide co-production.
That's fantastic. It's great.
So not all the bad stuff come. The lockdown stuff was like regroup and strategize time, and so at the end it was not so bad. The time lost in the lockdown.
That's the thing. You're making a positive out of a bad situation. You know, that's been a topic of conversation for so many bands here. What are you doing with your time right now? You know, obviously not only playing shows, but as fans, you know, just going to shows and enjoying seeing some of your friends play or what have you. We can't do that either. So I I saw that your last show was in January.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think like for a for a moment we don't. Yes, it was a great show with another band from Italy called Arcana 13 in a small club in Bologna, but really strong club in Bologna called Freak Out Club.
Yes.
It's a small venue here in Bologna, but it's great. It's a great club. The guy who runs it, our friends are linked to our historical place in Bologna, like Atlantis was like this quad when we played when we were kids, and was our last concert. And I don't know when we will play live.
Nobody does.
I don't think it will be really soon, but we have time to write stuff,
right.
Make the new record. We are lucky because I'm not a producer, but I know how to record stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think we will record the new record, but after then we will. My idea is to have like to record one song a month, like also covers, for example, some covers, some new material, and then we will wait until I think the next spring, I hope.
Right. Yeah. That seems to be about right. Now, you talked about the Freak Out Club. I also saw that you played at the Splinter Club, and then I'm gonna here's another name that I'm not sure of, Centro Giovanile.
Well, probably because we are. I don't remember the name of that place because sometimes the name of the venue on the internet, it's not the name we use normally.
Oh, okay. So maybe this would be a better question. Okay, so a band is going to go across overseas, when everything's great again. And we can, people are going to tour Italy. They're going to go through Bologna and the surrounding areas. What clubs or bars do you think that people should look into booking for the scene?
I think like for rock bands, stoner bands, call it like you want. I think in Bologna the best place to play. It's a small venue, but it's really good. It's Freak Out Club.
Right.
Because it's like our CBGB.
Oh, perfect.
It's like a small room, but for example, a lot of bands, also quite big bands, when they come here in Bologna, also if normally they play in bigger venues, they want to play in Freak Out because the spirit is the right spirit. For example, Sick of It All played a lot of time in Freak Out Club, and the strange thing is in front of Freak Out, the unload area, it's very small, and Sick of It All always arrive with like this enormous sleeping bus, and it's always difficult to park that stuff.
I bet.
But I think the best concerts I see in my life were in small venues.
Oh, absolutely.
So, microscopic venues.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think I grew up with like this fetish of small venues because I think the best way to hear a band it's with the less possible PA.
I got you.
You can hear the balance of the guys, and you can hear if a band is well rehearsed. Because if a band it's not well rehearsed, normally the guitar player like it's too loud or the bass player is too loud, and if there's no PA, you hear what the band want to hear, not like the PA guy who want to hear.
Exactly, and it's funny. I kind of got taken back for a second because you reminded me, CBGB's, man. Fucking, and just an incredible place. But I hope that the Freak Out bathrooms are a little bit better than the ones that were at CBGB's. God, they were terrible, man. I remember.
I never played the CBGB in New York with my old band. I played in Knitting Factory.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember Knitting Factory, sure.
And the Knitting Factory toilets were not so good.
No, not neither. So
But in general, in clubs, the toilet is not. But freak out toilets are quite good. I have to say, are quite clean.
that could be one of the weirder podcasts, just rating different club toilets. So,
yeah.
excuse me. When you were at the knitting factory, what type of band were you in? Was it a hardcore punk style band?
With my old band was called Settlefish. We started out like a metalcore band, not like metalcore like right now with the guys with the bleached hair. Was like more at the beginning was like something like more Chromax stuff.
I got you.
But in few months we started to listen to more and more to Fugazi, Dinosaur Jr.,
Sure.
Pavement. And so I think you can call it like post-hardcore indie rock.
Exactly.
More, and we had like this label at the time. I was some times ago because I'm talking about the beginning of 2000,
Right.
2002, 2003. We had this American label called Deep Elm Records. It was like the emo core label
Right.
at the time, and we made 2 tours in the US. One was like more East Coast and Midwest, and the other 2 was like a big tour with another band from the label called Desert City Soundtrack, and it was like a big U across the US.
Right.
It was like we started from Minneapolis, then we made some gig in Canada, then East Coast, all the South. We played also in Phoenix. Then the West Coast. We landed with our airplane in Chicago, and we. At the end of the tour, we were in Seattle. We were like 2 months tour.
How did you work your gear? I'm assuming like you bring the bass and you bring maybe the cymbals and the guitars. I'm guessing either you rent or you borrow from the person that you're touring with.
Yeah, something like that. The Desert City Soundtrack, that were a great band. They had some amplifier, drums, but strangely enough, I had this very big backpack, like scout backpack, very big,
Yeah.
with all the T-shirt, all the soft merchandise of the band
Sure.
in, and at the center of the merchandise was my head, was like a basement head, like the small one, 60 watts.
Yeah.
And so I had my amplifier in that tour.
There you go, man. There you go. Yeah, I was just curious because you never know, when you're going overseas, what you're going to get, or you're kind of borrowing gear, and I've seen that happen on quite a few tours.
Yeah, but it was like the second tour was like very punk DIY stuff because we don't have any work permission.
Gotcha.
And we had just it's very old stuff, so I think it's okay to talk about it. But our record at the time was made with this American producer called Brian Deck. He played in this alternative country band from Chicago called Red Meat.
Right.
I don't know. And then he produced a lot of like Modest Mouse, quite big band, Leeds Fair. And he produced our record, and he just made like a letter for us, and he said we were going to United States to arrange some new material in his studio, but in reality we were making a tour.
No kidding.
And when we landed in Chicago, the police stopped us, and we showed this letter, and was okay, go.
Oh my God, that's a great story, man. Oh, that's hysterical. Do you think I know now it might be a little weird, whatever, but do you think other bands were doing that before? Like that was a kind of a quote unquote like a trick to get a tour?
I think so. I know of other like 2 or 3 European bands that made something like that.
Right. I got you.
Or just, and I know a ton of band like they just buy the ticket like touristic permission, And they buy because backline in US it's more cheaper than here in Europe. You can buy like a good guitar in a pawn shop for $200, $300.
Right.
So I know a lot of bands like they buy the ticket, they arrive in like like Chicago or New York. They buy like a cheap Stratocaster and a cheap amplifier and then tour. And then at the end of the tour, they sell the stuff in a pawn shop.
You know what? It's kind of like recycling continuously, so somebody else can grab it and do the same thing.
Yeah, because for a DIY band to tour the US with a work permission have quite a cost for a band. Right. So for a DIY tour, it's you are lucky for the first tour if you break even.
Yeah, pretty much. You're almost doing it just to get your name out there.
Yeah, but it's I think it's at least in the 15 years ago when I was younger, it was a great time, great fun. In US, I had a really great time and was in some clubs in United States. I remember 2 gigs, one in Che Cafe in San Diego, and another gig at Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco.
Right.
It was the great sound guy I ever played with. Like, it was a line check, but the sound was perfect. And we had like all this very destroyed equipment. It was like I had very big fun to tour the US.
Hey, and we'd love to have you all back again with this band.
I hope so. I
hope so too, man. So I'm curious for this current band, where you're living, the architecture, the amount of age. Like, I look around in Phoenix where I live, and there's nothing that's older than 1950s. But you're going back hundreds of years with this gorgeous architecture that you have over there. Does that do anything for the sound that you create, whether it was in past bands or your current band?
I don't know if it directly affects the medieval landscape. I think it doesn't affect in a power metal way.
Right.
It's like more subtle. But if you are Italian, here the history is quite important.
Okay.
So maybe in a subconscious way you are. But if I have to say, my musical roots are like completely UK US roots. I grew up with my first love when I was 12. When in the September of '91, Nevermind was released,
right.
And I was 12 years old, and that was my beginning. So my mom was a big rock and roll fan. I have a lot of records of her, like a lot of David Bowie, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath.
Sure.
And so my musical roots are completely modern. But maybe it's like more subtle way of thinking. Like for example, you want to record in a old manner, like in that way. But I don't think it's direct. We don't have like this lyric about medieval times or for example, yes, we have some reference to like alchemy or stuff like that.
Right.
But it's not like Ronnie James Dio serious reference or Dayside satanic reference.
Exactly.
It's always fun. It's always a joke.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Glory or Death Records, right out on the west coast of the United States. It's where rock and roll lives, and they aim to bring you the best of the best. What are we talking about here? We're talking bands like Kook, Heavy Velvet, Deep Purple tributes, Thin Lizzy tributes, Red Witch Johnny, Moss Generator, Love Gang and Smoky Mirror, Red Wizard and Roast, and soon a whole lot more. So get over to Glory or Death Records right now and pick up everything that you need. I have a few more questions here. I hope we can get through them all here. First off, I have to say, in going through the list of people that you have played on stage with, it turned me on to a bunch of new bands, and some of them are Hyperwolf, Mongoose, I think I'm pronouncing it Fakir Thongs. I don't know, man.
Yeah, they were a great band from Modena. It's a city near here, and there's this strange mix of like 70s rock and post rock.
Yes.
They have like this big riff, but also like more twangy stuff. They are really good.
And I guess that brings me to the next question. So, first off, I'd like to know what you're listening to now, like what you have your ears to, but also what are some bands over in your area that people should know more about?
For the second question, I think there is a lot of Italian and European bands that are really good right now. For example, Fakir Tongs are really good. There's another band from Bologna called Mar Nero.
Yeah, yes, I wrote it. Believe it or not, I wrote them down because you played with them, and I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't read my handwriting.
They're really good, and Hyperwolf are really good. Are like this Mothra on steroids. Like they are a duo, like a guitar and drums duo, but if you close your eyes, they seem 1,000 on stage because they are so massive. Like there's other not like stoner or hard rock band that I really love here. Like for example, there's this band called Leroy.
Yes.
And we in our rehearsal space we play with other two bands that are really good. One of that it's called Cho, like Cho the verb, Cho, and they're really good. They made like this Madonna first Screaming Trees stuff. They are really good. Frabbo is their singer. It's like a great singer. And there's this hardcore band called Ile, called HYLE.
Okay.
All female band, like this very crusty, aggressive hardcore. They're really good. And then there's also some other big band like The Secret. Their drummer is a friend of ours, Chris. And they are quite big because they released, I think, I don't remember if 1 or 2 records on Southern Lord. So
right.
The Secret, and they are like this more apocalyptic post-hardcore, very heavy stuff. But there's a lot of good band here. And right now I listen to, I'm a very big fan of pre-war folk and blues. Mm-hmm. I really like Skip James, Robert Johnson.
Wow. He comes up a lot.
Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Right.
Reverend Gary Davis. A lot of old acoustic blues stuff. And then I listen to the record I love, like, Black Sabbath, obviously, the Purple. I really love that. Not a lot of people love it, but I love the Mark I Deep Purple a lot, like the Ash.
Hey, you like what you like.
Hendrix, a lot of stuff, and then also something like jazz. I really love Miles Davis, John Coltrane.
Yeah. Now you mentioned jazz earlier. Do you go like I know that the bases we have? Yeah, like you say, Davis and Coltrane. I'm interested. Like, do you ever get into something a little more? I don't know what you call it, like new age jazz, like Pat Metheny or somebody like that.
Pat Metheny, no, but like more like fusiony stuff. I really like first Mahavishnu Orchestra release,
right.
Like John McLaughlin. Like also something like first Coliseum Records, Like first, it was the first band, Alan Allsworth band, like very technical stuff. But I prefer like bebop, or also like, Miles Davis. If you listen to Beaches Brew or Jack Johnson, it's like it's there's a lot of rock in that records.
Oh yeah, there is, and
it's fusion, but it's not like 80s fusion, like sappy stuff with synthesizer. It's more raw. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for mentioning Alan Holdsworth. I forgot about him. I gotta check. I gotta revisit some of that material. I might be going down a YouTube rabbit hole tonight for that.
I think the first Alan Holdsworth is really good. Unfortunately, the 80s it quite bad on older guys, in my opinion.
Right.
And so he made a lot of, for example, Metal Fatigue. It's a lot of people say Metal Fatigue is the best record of Alan Holdsworth, but in my opinion, it's too glassy, too overproduced, too synthesizer. First Coliseum records, that guy was really good on playing guitar. Was a real genius.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look, you're talking about the 80s. Things got overproduced. It's like there's nothing. I don't know. It's you're right. A little fluff, whatever. But somebody likes it out there. It just ain't us, and that's fine. So I've got two more questions for you now. I think what we'll do, because you are over in Italy, I would like you to. I'm going to ask you a question, and I would like you to answer me in Italian, if you could.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try.
Okay. Here we go. So, Emilio, my wife and I were going to go on our honeymoon, and we were going to go to London and then go to Italy, and we were just going to go all over Italy because how beautiful it is and how stunning. And we were, we love food. We're big foodies. We wanted to do a food and wine tour and like the street food tours. Where do you suggest we go?
In Italian.
Yes, please.
Ok.
Sì.
Dovete venire a Bologna, fare base a Bologna, e siccome Bologna è una città molto vicina ad altri posti famosi come Venezia e Firenze, da qua potete muovervi. E per esempio potete andare a Firenze, dove si mangia, in Toscana si mangia molto bene, ma anche qua Bologna è famosa per mangiare bene, ma anche a Venezia, ed è tutto qua molto vicino. If you want, I can translate to you.
You know what? I appreciate that. I think I had those tours booked where I was going to go see those. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay. No. Okay. Yes. Could you translate, please?
Yeah. If you land here in Bologna is in the north of Italy, but it's, for example, it's half an hour to Florence. Florence is really near to Bologna. It's
right.
1 hour and a half to Venice. So you can land here in Bologna, and here in Bologna you can eat very well. It's famous for its food, Bologna, like tortellini, lasagne.
Bolognese.
It's like all kinds of pasta. But also if you go to Florence, you can eat very well. Florence, for example, is famous for its meat, like Fiorentina. It's like the T-bone steak of Italy,
nice.
But it's more good. And also Venice, is on the sea, so you can eat the fish. So if you land here in Bologna, okay, you can, the south from here is too far, but Bologna is cheaper than Florence, and you are in Florence in half an hour with the train, and it's really near to Venice, for example. Ferrara, it's another very beautiful city. So if you camp here in Bologna, if your base camp is in Bologna, you can see a lot of the north of Italy very well, because it's all really near to Bologna, and you can eat very well.
Thank you, sir. Now, here's a final question, and I wanted to end on this question because it's been a topic for a long time. I finally have somebody I'm interviewing from Italy, and this has been a question for several podcast episodes. This is going to be the last time we talk about it. Of course, we're going to talk about it in Italian. Here is the question. First, the first question is basically just yes or no. Do you eat pizza?
Yes.
Okay.
I just eat pizza.
Okay.
Sì, ho mangiato la pizza. Ho mangiato la pizza.
So here is the question in Italian, please.
Yeah.
Should there be pineapple on pizza?
No.
I love it. I love how there's like no second guessing and not a long explanation at all. Just no.
No.
All right.
You know,
So
if you like it, you have to eat what you want. But in my opinion, because I'm a quite curious guy in cuisine stuff. I tried pineapple pizza in England one time, and I find it disgusting.
fair enough. That's it. Now,
For example, in Italy, we eat melon. You know melon, the orange fruit.
yes.
With like prosciutto. Prosciutto,
It's so
it's
good.
like it's really good, but it's salty. It's really salty, so there's a contrast in it.
Yes.
But ham and pineapple. Ham it's not so salty. Pineapple is really sweet, and I think it's not good. And I think fruit with cheese that is on pizza, it's not good at all.
All right, everybody, you've heard it from someone straight from Italy. He knows the deal. You still, whatever, do what you want, like what you like. But I'm telling you, this was the definitive answer. I think we're done talking about it. And Emilio, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Now, we've got some material that you have been working on. Is there any chance maybe I could maybe kind of put a track on here that you're working on?
Yeah, for sure. You'll pick a song, the one you like most, and you can put it on your
Awesome.
podcast.
Full exclusive.
It's always a demo version. It's not the record.
That's hey, you know what? I like seeing it. And we've talked about it in previous podcasts where even whatever it is, if it's a monster band like Metallica or somebody like that, and they put out demo versions, I still want to listen to it. I want to see the progression of the song. So thank you so much, Emilio. It's been great hanging with you, brother. I appreciate the time. I guess, how about this? When you get closer to the next release, we'll have another chat.
For sure. Really appreciate it, Chris. Great guy.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much, and have the best week.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out towards the end. Now, we have to give a huge thanks. And I know I've done it before, but it's time to do it again. Ian from No Masters Audio has been crushing it in the editing and showing me a lot of different things along the way. We have set up some meeting times where we're going to try to improve the quality of the sound even more. We found out a lot of different things in doing these phone interviews, what works best, what can be improved upon, how I can get him better quality so he doesn't have to take hours to sort out my mess. So huge thanks. Go out, find him on Instagram, man. Like his page, figure it out. If you need somebody to do your audio engineering, head over to No Masters Audio. Also, the Doom Tomb, craniumradio.com, each and every Sunday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, right after it, you get a different episode each week of the Doom Tomb podcast. I don't know which one it's going to be yet. I haven't figured it out, but I know it's going to be classic ones, maybe a little bonus every once in a while, and brand new episodes. And that's directly after hearing the loudest and the heaviest of the underground of all things stoner, doom, and sludge. doomtombpodcast at gmail.com is how to reach us, and Doom Tomb Podcast across all forms of social media. You have a submission? Do you need a review? Do you want to do an interview? Well, hit us up. It's that easy, and we'll get those phoners done, and we'll get it out there to the public. Thank you so much to everybody for hanging out. Until that time, next time, meantime, and in between time, enjoy yourselves. Stay healthy, stay happy, and above all, stay heavy.